Hi, good morning, guys, and we are coming up again with the Hindu editorial session today. And today the topic is all about editorial is all about Ukraine and Russia war. And before that, we used to have conventionally thought of the day. Let's have a view on the today's thought of day. So it's like be mentally strong. Don't be afraid of loneliness. Don't dwell on the past. Don't give up after the first failure. Don't let others influence your emotions. Don't waste time feeling sorry for yourself. And don't waste energy on something you can't control. So these are all such key lines which are quite helpful for us. And mostly when we are alone, we should enjoy our own life, our own existence. I can say you should have a feeling that we are with the best person on the surface of earth, and that's you. So this should be kind of approach for our life if we really want to become happy and successful in our life. So let's move to the first to the tutorial page. Currently it's quite tactical today. I will try my best to comprehend the things in a proper manner. So a perilous stalemate. Perilous, it means dangerous. Stalemate means a condition in a war in which neither side can change its position. Means we are both sides where in a war, particular war, both sides, they're quite, stagnant. They are not gonna to, step down. Both are quite strong. Both are not ready to surrender. Okay, that's called stalemate. Okay, this word is mostly used in war. Okay, perilous means actually it means dangerous. Means the war between Ukraine and Russia had reached as a zone where both the ends are quite stagnant. They are quite looking quite rebellious. They are not listening to the people, listening to the countries who are trying to mediate between the two. Means the things are going out of control. So it's like the meaning a perilous stalemate. Now let's start on Russia Ukraine conflict. After 6 months, communication lines between Moscow and Kyiv should be kept open. Should be kept open. Moscow, this is the capital of Russia, and Kyiv is the capital of Ukraine. So the author is here trying to say that communication lines between Moscow and Kyiv should be kept open. They means even author is trying that there is now need to bring some give an opportunity to the mediatory or conciliatory process so that the peace will prevail. Otherwise, 6 months had actually passed. There is no not any that possibility of peace. So before that, I will just give that brief as conventionally as commonly I used to give. Actually, this war actually started from 24th Feb, where Russia suddenly and abruptly it just attacked Ukraine. So at that time, Russia was thinking, and all countries were having a perception that Russia is quite super country, or it do have a super military. It do have it's a nuclear power country, and it can just do its work in just 7 days. It will just destroy Ukraine within 7 days. But here, viewers, you can see that even 6 months had passed, but Ukraine is still there. Although it had lost its territories, it has lost its people, but Ukraine is not ready to surrender. It's not ready to step down. So this is really what is actually, if you will go through the article, if you go through, you will come to realize this. Actually, at the same time, we should also try to know this fact is a geopolitical war. Ukraine is just in the middle. It is actually between USA and Russia, or USA, including those NATO forces, European forces. You can say it's like a block, two blocks. On the one hand, there is Russia, and on the other hand, there is like I can say USA and European countries. Okay, so again, it has in every war you can see as what our united, I can say UNO is actually facing nowadays. This is actually a matter of quite grave concern. I can say that human crisis is there. People are losing their life. People are getting killed. Military forces are getting killed, and post-war refugees crisis, that is even in Rohingya. We had been certain we are not get out of this Rohingya crisis yet, but still one more crisis is now there. Ukraine displacement, those migrants are there because for your kind information, I should just mention it that 15 to 20% of land has been already occupied by the Russia. So the why the people will go, they will become refugees. They had been displaced. So this is again a crisis for the new order. So here the thing is that even what actually USA is trying to come, trying to get what USA will get out of it. Although the land, I can say the land, the status which actually Ukraine had lost, US and UK is giving promises, giving a word to the Ukraine that we will help you to get those lost land. I can say those lost cities back, but it sounds little bit, because even Russia, Mr. Putin is very hard. He's very quite, abstain to his word that he's not actually letting down. So let's move to straightly to that article. I hope you had actually understood the crux. So we will try to make things more easier now. 6 months 6 months after Russia began its invasion of Ukraine, the conflict seems to have entered a dangerous stalemate. 6 months after Russia began its invasion. Invasion means actually attack. It's an aggression. Okay, invasion, when one country attacks on the other country. Okay, that's called invasion. If it is armored, that's called invasion. Okay, 6 months after Russia begins its invasion of Ukraine, the conflict means war, seems to have entered a dangerous stalemate. mean a dangerous phase. Stalemate, I already told you, it means a war-like situation. Okay, Ukraine resisted the Russian attack well. So I already just made it clear in the beginning that it was just perceived that Russia will just play. It was for this war was just a piece of cake for Russia. Okay, because Russia was quite superpower, but the author is trying to say, see how Ukraine had just been committed. It had played well this game. Okay, Ukraine resisted. It had just shown its resistance, okay, shown tolerance, and it had fought back. The author is trying to say like that. Ukraine resisted the Russian attack well, forcing the invading troops and retreat from around Kyiv. Kyiv is the capital of Ukraine. So invading troops means all who are in force, those who are attacking forces. To retreat means surrender or leaving back. भगा देना, ठीक है. So the author is trying to say Ukraine resisted the Russian attack well, forcing the invading troops, troops from Russia to retreat from around Kyiv. Around Kyiv they were forced to surrender and leave back its capital, and Kharkiv, the second city, but in the east and south, it lost swaths of territories. So actually, author is trying to say Kharkiv, it is actually the north part of the Ukraine, and Kyiv, it is also somehow its middle or north part of the. So these two cities, these are the major two cities. These two cities actually somehow Ukraine had been successful to defend these cities, but it is southern and eastern part had already been occupied by the Russia. So here the word is actually what was the nature of land actually which had been actually occupied by Russia. That is called swath. Swath means the land which is of paddy field, which is of resources, which is of economic importance. So the land which was of economic importance in Ukraine, and that mostly covers the southern and eastern part in Ukraine, that land has been actually been occupied by Russia. Although Ukraine had been successful in securing or in preserving its land, middle or we can say north part, like Kharkiv and Kyiv, which is capital, which was already in target of actually Russia, but they had not actually been successful. But mostly the southern part means the land which lies on the banks of Black Sea. Okay, Black Sea. If you there is also a map, I will try to just locate that. But actually the author is trying to say that the southern and eastern part of Ukraine had been usurped, or that has been occupied by Russia. Russia, which mainly contains the economic zone of Ukraine. I hope you got it. So let's scroll down. Svats means actually the agriculture, economic zone. This is actually the areas which lies beyond the cities. So mostly it is covered by the, agriculture, land. So here you can see this is actually, if you I'm not this is actually the Ukraine. You can say I'm not able to how to locate this. So let's actually that what's that called, Crimea is the southern part. Beyond this, Crimea is actually a peninsula. Like peninsula means which is on three parts, which is covered by water. Actually that Ukraine is actually covered by Black Sea. That is actually also in the target of that we can say Russia, because through that they will reach Europe. The question is that why Ukraine, why the question is that why Russia is trying to just reach Black Sea, etc. Because in Europe there are actually NATO forces. NATO forces actually trying to arm the European those boundaries actually, which are in the neighborhood of Russia. That it becomes a threat for Russia. That's why Mr. Putin is trying to just war. Actually, this history goes back from 2014, and then it was 2014 when state of Crimea has become an issue of contention between Russia and Ukraine, etc. So the story is actually quite long. It has a huge long history. I don't want to go into that. So here the content says like that the war seems to have strengthened the transatlantic alliance, which was evident in Sweden and Finland applying to join NATO. So the question here is, what is this transatlantic alliance? Actually, it is an alliance between Europe and Russia and America and USA. You can say in the middle it is Atlantic Ocean. So that's called transatlantic alliance. Alliance means cooperation. Atlantic means sea, Atlantic Ocean. I mean say Atlantic Ocean, and trans means between. So transatlantic alliance. It means in middle of USA and Europe lies Atlantic Ocean. So this is called a cooperation between these two regions. Actually the bases are back. So actually the political, you can say, the defense wing of, or you can say the security wing of this transatlantic alliance is NATO. NATO is actually North Atlantic Treaty Organization. It was actually formed, I think, in 1949. It was initially having 14 members. Now it do have 30 members. So NATO is actually an alliance of countries from Europe, Europe and North America. It provides a unique link between two continents, Europe and America, enabling them to cooperate in the field of security and defense, and help us them to conduct the multinational crisis management operations together. Means if these two continents have any threat, if I can say these members of this NATO, if any of the countries, it mostly covers European and American countries. So if any of these countries gets a threat from outside country, that time this NATO, it's actually a corporate, it is a joint force of these countries, of these two continents. It comes into flow. That time it tries to save the country. So actually here the author is saying that Sweden and Finland applying to join NATO. So because for their national security, they also want to protect their national interests, I can say national boundaries. So they had already applied for NATO membership. The question is here whether Ukraine is the part of, because NATO had played the role there, whether Ukraine is the part of NATO or not. Actually the answer is not. It was there, but one of its presidents in the earlier had he had dismissed his membership in NATO. He had claimed being non-aligned. Non-aligned means having no association, association with any of the forces. So but not Ukraine at the same time had been the supporter of NATO. So that is why this time NATO is supporting, he is condemning the Russian attack on Ukraine. Okay, let's move ahead. But the West is reeling. Reeling means suffering. Okay, but the West is reeling under the heat of economic consequences, especially amid growing fears of Russian gas drying up during the winter. So actually you might be knowing that Russia is the world top supplier of, you can say, producer of oil and all other gas, these resources. So due to this war, actually West had been involved in it. West means USA. I hope you are. These are called Western countries. So West means USA. The author is trying to say that this in this geopolitical war, which
Alex, why you're not audible?
am I audible now?
Yes.
Okay, okay. So I lost network in the middle. I'm sorry for that. So I was just saying about even USA is now facing. Actually, USA has also suffered because it has to pay some defense, some money, some defense armaments. It has to pay. It has to supply many drones to the Ukraine because Ukraine cannot do it at its own. So the author is trying to say even USA is also facing, because the thing was that it was thought that the war will not go for a long, but the war is actually it is getting a huge traction. Okay, so Russia had made territorial gains in Donbass and in southern Ukraine. So I was already saying that Russia had already occupied, and it had actually the Donbass is in, it's actually the economic zone in Ukraine which had been occupied by Russia. So and in southern Ukraine, southern Ukraine means what? It is all the part I was saying, it is near the Black, it is near Black Sea. It covers the area like Crimea, etc. Okay, but it is setbacks in the north. But Russia had faced setback. Setback means defeat. It was Russia was defeated in north and northeast region. Northeast region means that what was something, Kharkiv area in the north. I was saying that, okay, Kharkiv area. But Russia had faced a defeat in the north area, Ukraine, but its setbacks in the north and northeast, and its inability to take quick, decisive, and battlefield victories elsewhere exposed the gap between its rhetoric and reality. Rhetoric and reality means that what was actually perceived, it was a presumption that Russia will come and it will destroy Ukraine. It was a rhetoric. It was a common saying among the people. Even Russia was feeling like that. It was having a strong pride on its army. But the thing is that it had failed when we compare its, the might of, when you compare the muscle power, the army power of Russia with Ukraine, then Russia is quite far ahead. Ukraine is nowhere. It can just in one day it can destroy Ukraine. But the thing on the ground is that the fact on the ground is that Russia had taken 6 months, but still it is not able to occupy because it has failed in the north side of Russia, of Ukraine. So that is why here author is trying to say that it had, due to its decisions, maybe due to its some decisions had maybe having not been up to the mark, because decisions win sometimes. Decisions gives you success. Okay, decisions gets you to the winning point. But maybe author is trying to here to say that maybe decisions had not been so so clear or so to the point. That's why Russia had faced a backlash, you can say. So let's go down, scroll down please. Please scroll down if I'm audible. Alliance means actually party. Alliance means a group. Okay, group alliance. Like in our country here used to be BJP had an alliance with Bahujan Samaj Party or etc. Congress etc. Okay, so territorial gains means what you are just gaining from the territory, because as Donbass is the economic center there, so it has become a territorial gain for. So it is when you occupy some land of the other country. Inability means not being a battlefield, means the field in which war, like Ukraine is this time battlefield where the war took place, which is under attack, you can say. Rhetoric means, it means the fluency. Okay, it means the oratory, it means the fluency. Okay, not I'm saying you literal meaning of rhetoric. Okay, he has been quite rhetoric, quite rhetoric means flow. Okay, तारीफ करना जिसे कहते हैं ना, praising. Okay, can you please scroll down now? Can you scroll down? Okay, it's joined now. Please now scroll down.
It's already. I did that. Is it not
Oh,
visible?
no,
Others?
it's not. It's not. Is it visible to others? Can you scroll down?
Visible, yeah, it's visible. Yes.
Okay, let me join again. Yes, got it. Russia has stopped ground assaults, but it continues to bomb Ukraine cities at will. So ground assaults means when you are coming with, when you are doing a target hitting, you to say, you can use ambush gun or you can use something. That's called a target hitting, hitting a person, hitting a building straightly. But now actually the author is trying to say Russia had stopped ground assaults, not as, not ground means to the target, but what is actually now Russia had adopted, what is the strategy? Actually, it continues to bomb Ukraine cities at will. Okay, it is now bombing the cities, means it has not any target, it has not target, but it is just doing it like we can say it hit and miss game. It is just throwing a bomb on a city, whether someone will die or not, just it is doing at will, means it's there is a little bit disorder in the Russian camp. Okay, little bit, they are little bit now confused how to do the exact killing or etc what they have in their plans, but they are playing hit and miss game now. They are just bombing the cities at will. Okay, so the latest being an attack on the railway station on August 24, Ukraine's Independence Day, that was marked 6 months of the invasion. So after 6 months completion, Russia had come up with on the eve of Independence Day of Ukraine, they had lobbed some bombs on the lobbed bomb on railway station. It means railway station had come into the eye, you can say evil eye of Russia. So they had attacked the railway station on when it was the Independence Day of Ukraine. That also marked 6 months of the invasion. So 6 months had already been elapsed. Ukraine's strategy. Strategy means your plan. Okay, Ukraine's strategy means plan, approach. Ukraine's strategy appears to be making the occupation costly for Russians. For the Russians, rather than taking the back territories. So here the author is trying to, say Ukraine's strategy means its approach, Ukraine's plan, Ukraine's approach appears to be making the occupation costly for Russia, because Russia had already occupied some of the land, but how we can say it is costly for Russia? Although Russia is in winning zone, they have occupied something, they have occupied some land, but at the same time, sanctions had been imposed on Russia for going. You can say when for a country like Russia, which is the permanent member of Security Council, and it's the major player in the geopolitics. It do have trade with the other countries. When such country is given is hit by sanctions by the international bodies, it's a major catastrophe for such countries. So that is why the author here is trying to say that Ukraine's strategy appears to be making the occupation costly, means it is quite a huge deal, it is quite a you can say expensive deal for Russia. It had turned out to be an expensive deal for Russia, because Russia has been hit by sanctions. Okay, they had been put in the internationally they had been put in the box. They have to answer its actions. So in that way we can say, when it is, although India, countries like India or African countries, they are still in trade, they are taking they are with trade links with Russia. They had not adopted, they had said, their stand had been clear that we are not into this war. Our stand is just neutral. Okay, it has been India's stand, it has been African countries, they have given this stand, but at the same time Russia somehow had got a defamation. It was defamation, that it is just because refugee problem will get again. Who will then solve this? So there are some repercussions which the international bodies have to face. So that is why Russia, being a country with respect at international level, it is not expected that because of its illdeeds, some international repercussions will be like refugee problem will be there, human crisis is there. So Russia will have to answer for that. Russia has to answer for that. So that is why the author is trying to say that somehow we can say Ukraine had even played well because this deal had turned out to be quite costly for Russia. So let's go, please scroll down now. Russia's Crimea and Kherson bases have come under repeated attacks. The Russian intelligence has blamed Ukraine for a car bombing that killed the daughter of an ally of President Vladimir Putin. So you can see now it is called the frustration of Vladimir, Russia, that they are even now claiming that you have killed some person, some special person, a person who is some kith of, so is a blood relative of some president. You can or president of Vladimir Putin. Means it. You can here just analyze that this is called the frustration. Even there had not been a ceasefire, there had not a conciliatory approach has not been at all, but still Russia had started to claim that this kind of because they had even just killed our person. Even Russia had done a lot of trouble there. They had killed many people. If you go into the statistics, then the statistics that is ranging in lakhs, I can say the people. It has taken a huge death toll, you can say. So a huge catastrophe had been there, derangement, you can say, human casualties had been there. Okay, defense forces were killed. So this here the author is trying to say that this is actually the frustration this time for Russia. Reports in the recent weeks suggested that the Russian intelligence gravely miscalculated the Ukraine resistance before the war. Again, I am just repeating the words. A reporter said that actually Russia had not calculated, it had not estimated that the war will go for such a long term. They were thinking that it is easy. We can say it's a low hanging fruit. You can say it's an idiom. Low hanging fruit means what is easy. Okay, it's an easy job, it's a piece of cake. So that was actually the mentality, that was the mindset of Russia at that time, that it will be easy. But actually the author is trying to say that Russia in the beginning had miscalculated the situation. They had means misestimated. It was the anticipation, what to, not up to the mark, anticipation, thinking, or your planning, or you can say estimation. It was not a quite proper or exact estimation. So it was misestimation, you can say, or you can say miscalculation. Okay. Well, the reports in the recent weeks suggest that the Russian intelligence gravely miscalculated the Ukraine resistance before the war when the Kiev regime, Kiev is the president of, he's also called Vladimir Kiev, regime, state. Regime means you can say the government, you can say, in other words. Okay, when the Kiev regime stayed put in the face of Russia's multi-axis assault, the Russian generals had to change their strategy from lightning strikes across the country to a forced ground invasion in the east. So in the east, they had already occupied, and this is just the author is trying to say how they had occupied. They had just adopted the ground invasion, okay, in the east. So that's why they had been successful. Please scroll down. I think I had already covered these points. That needs no more details. Can this scroll down? So you can see he's called the Vladimir Putin. He's sometimes called the, what's called? I don't remember the name. German, that Hitler, I can say. Even that was made complicated by the Ukraine's resistance, which got military and financial assistance from West. Already made it clear because military and financial assistance were from Ukraine is getting the financial aid from West. That is why Ukraine has been able to take it to a long time. They have been able to just prolong it. Otherwise, Ukraine at its individual level is not able to tolerate this kind of war. The author is trying to say the Ukraine had made it complicated because they had got military and financial assistance from the West. As the war dragged on means continued. Okay, dragged on means pushed up. Okay, pushed on. Dragged on means continued. The West's resolve means what? Commitment. Okay, the commitment determined. Okay, commitment when you are making a promise or commitment, that's called a resolve. As the war dragged on, the West's resolve to punish Russia only hardened, leading to crippling sanctions on the Russian economy. Crippling sanctions means cripple actually means sometimes when someone is disabled, we can say he had been crippled. Someone, if you wound someone very deeply, that's called he has got crippled. Okay, wounding deeply, that's called the literal meaning of crippling. So here the term is crippling sanctions means very very those worse sanctions had been imposed, because at the international level, maybe we countries like India, African, because we are developing, we need Russia, we have to adopt the neutral zone, we have to adopt the neutral way. But at the same time, Russia had become the focus of I can say that criticism at the international, it has become point of criticism at the international level. So the war has been dragged on because of the Western help, financial and military help from the Western side, from USA. So at the same time, Russia had been put on the spot, that Russia has been put on a, you can say, in a tight situation, that's perfect word, tight situation, by USA, because USA is the man player at the back. Okay, so come on, scroll down please. Vladimir Putin thinking about something. Okay, so Mr. Putin is now in a spot. Spot means tight spot. Okay, despite the limited battlefield gains of his troops, because his troops lost their life. Only 15%, or you can say up to 20% land has been occupied. This is not a success, because a huge number of your armored forces that had lost their life. Okay, you had been imposed with sanctions. So this is not called, in any way, it's not called success, because Ukraine is not yet to surrender in front of you, because war is ongoing. It's still inconclusive. Before starting the war, Russia was thinking that we will get conclusion within days, but that not happened, according to the, you can say, according to the that according to the roadmap laid down by the Putin administration. The roadmap, the planning had failed at all. Okay, so battlefield gains of the ruler. Managing the sanctions hit economy itself is a tall task. Managing the sanctions hit economy itself. Managing the sanctions. Now the headache again, one more, headache. This is quite, you can say, severe headache. Like that they have to manage with the sanctions now. Okay. This is a headache for Russia, because it has a tallest, you can say, name. It has a tallest, you can say, tallest, personality in the geopolitics of the world. So for Russia like country, it matters. Economy itself is a tall task. Continuing the war would be costly, and there is no certainty that he would meet the strategic goals through a long-term war. And for Ukraine, despite its resistance capabilities and the support from the West, taking back territories using force remains impractical. So here it's a twin situation here, that for Russia, actually Russia is now in a problem. It is in doldrums, you can say. It's at crossroads. What it should do, because on the other hand, it has already declared a war. It is not, because it is also hurts the ego of Putin. Putin is a different kind of person. Okay, he once is, because even he declared war, that had given shock to the world. This was all not planned. Suddenly he had declared war, and the world was not knowing it. So you can just imagine the personality, the thinking of Putin on the one hand. So here he's in problem. So what kind, he wants now conclusion. On the other hand, the author is trying to say that territories which Ukraine had lost, although USA and UK is giving a promise, they are just giving a word to Ukraine that they will restore, they will retrieve back those territories, but it sounds all impossible. Russia is not going to surrender. They will not let the those, I can say, the occupied territories, like you can say southern part or eastern part, which had been occupied by the Russia. They is not gonna to release it. They are not gonna to just free those territories. Okay, so this is a twin. So it is also a problem for Ukraine. Ukraine is becoming, Ukraine is at the beck and call of USA. You can say I'd like that. Means back and call means doing whatever what US is just telling them the Ukraine is doing in that way. Okay, they don't have their own. They are not applying their own rationality, reason, etc. Okay, so Mr. Putin is now on. Can you please go down now? Scroll down. I had already covered it, I think. Yeah, you can see the war. So the break. So to break the stalemate means to just control, to you can say pacify the war, to strike a ceasefire resolution, agreement. Okay, that's called to break the stalemate. Stalemate. What both sides can do is to agree to a ceasefire. Ceasefire means when both conflicting parties will be on a common table and they are agreeing on some terms and conditions. Okay, means both parties will not, both parties will, no party will now just go for violence, etc. This is called a ceasefire. Okay, cease means stop, fire means it means all like these fire rounds, etc. Okay, this is called a peace. It's a conciliatory process adopted after war. Okay, that's called ceasefire. It's called also a transition zone. Okay, so agree to ceasefire and start direct talks seeking a political solution. So talks will be, that's called dialogue. Dialogue brings peace. Okay, for you can say political solution. The UN and Turkey mediated talks that saw a breakthrough. Breakthrough means something new, which is quite, I can say, important. You can say which is extraordinary. Breakthrough. I'm not actually getting the proper word how I can translate. Breakthrough means like I can say I had come up with a breakthrough. No, breakthrough means something which changes the situation. Okay, which changes the situation. Okay, so here this we will try to use it in this context. The UN and Turkey mediates talks that saw a breakthrough in July in shipping grain from Ukraine ports via Black Sea area. A model was being followed. Model was. So here actually the author is trying to say in earlier Turkey and US had already mediated once when there was some shipping issue between Ukraine and Russia. At that time, you can say Turkey mediate talks. That's a breakthrough. Breakthrough means, if there was a war, now someone had mediated, it has bring peace. It can be called as a breakthrough. Means something, a new stage. I can say a new thing which brings peace. Okay, new step which brings peace. That's called breakthrough in according to this context. Okay, so model already, it means such a design which is worth, means which is quite appreciable, a new design. So in earlier Turkey and USA tried to bring a model war, trying to bring a model which had been helpful in restoring, resuming peace between the two countries. So follow regional players with communication lines open to Moscow and Kyiv should push them to come on the table. So it's as simple to go for ceasefire, to have political discussions. I can say to have a political dialogue, to just open diplomatic way, to restore peace, to resume talks, to resume trade, etc. So author is actually trying to say. So kindly scroll down. Mhm. You can see the dilapidated condition here. It's quite destructive. Suicide, bombs, lobbed. Yeah. If war of, come again. If war of attrition is allowed to grind on, it would continue to hurt all stakeholders besides holding the global economy hostage. Global economy hostage, once again, I will say your hostage. Already I told you it in one of the sessions. I told you what hostage means. Hostage means to put someone in custody with condition. Means if someone is putting someone in custody with condition. Hostage means here in this one it will bring a stagnancy. Okay, it will bring a world economy bring stagnancy in the world economy. Russia, it's the fulcrum, it is the hotbed of resources, which is supplying resources to the country, because no country can sustain alone. We have to depend on other countries. So here if the war of attrition means this kind of war. This is like a war where bombs are being lobbed, etc. Is allowed to grind means that grind means just say आटा गूंथते हैं ना, उसे ग्राइंड डाउन कहते हैं, ग्राइंड उसे कहते हैं. So grind here, grind means if it will be continued, it will be dragged on. Okay, it will bring no peace, it will bring economies at back foot, at back seat. So it will be, it create a disorder, because it is a nuclear age, and where it can bring a destruction to the whole world. Okay, so stakeholders actually means the people who are there, the concerned people. I can say the agency, the I can say stakeholders in, for example, war means here the stakeholders in war means who are in the war, like USA is the stakeholder, Europe is the stakeholder, Russia is a stakeholder. So these the, I can say, the agents in a war. Okay, I mean say the players in the war who do have some interests in the war, they are called actually the stakeholders. So can you kindly scroll down? I think we have, yeah, see what's the condition. Machine, armament. Hmm. So silent boy, I think it's the tone of editorial. Can you now please tell me what was the tone of editorial? Anyone? I think it was what it was, critical. Yeah.
It was analytical.
Okay.
Authors tried to analyze the whole situation.
Okay. Analytical. Great. Anyone? Money. Libra. Kunal. Flower. Rainbow.
Maybe.
Roma. Money.
Yeah, critical.
Critical. Okay. Roma.
It's like discussing the issue, like also international issue regarding this Ukraine, Russian.
Yes. That was nice. I hope it is you all people had tried to understand. It's quite technical topic, so I tried my well. So if anyone want to add more, it's most welcome.
Like, could you please explain me about NATO? Like, I don't know about it. Like, NATO is like
Yeah,
a group of countries, no?
yeah, NATO was actually, it was formed in 1949 when it was Second World War. Then there was German led powers those were called actually Axis powers. So at that time, this USA etc. They had formed their own power. That's called a defense power. Okay, that's called NATO. It is a group of countries. Like the group of countries are from USA as well as from UK. Okay, you cannot Europe. When the whole countries are of Europe, they make Europe actually. So this is the joint force, joint army from both the continents, from North America continent and European continent. So they formed a joint army. Okay, joint army. Whenever any of these countries are attacked by Russia or any other country, they will become at that time united. Okay, they means they save the interests. You can say national interests of. So they do have a lot of, I can say, cooperation. But NATO is just, it's quite famous. It is just a defense wing of these corporations. So it was initially having 12 members when it was formed in 14, I can say
Okay.
1949.
India is
Now it
also
do
a
have.
member of NATO.
No, India had adopted actually non-alignment theory, non-alignment policy. At that time, when Jawaharlal Nehru Sahab was there, he said that we had recently got independence. We are not, because once you are part of NATO, you have to accept enemies from Russia. So enmity from Russia. So at the time, once you become some powerful, because it becomes a united, it become NATO is also a threat for other countries like Russia. So India at that time adopted the policy. India, because all those developing countries which had recently got that independence, they adopted the policy of non-alignment. Non-alignment means neutral policy. Neither we are towards this bloc or to this bloc. So they adopted means neutral policy. Okay, I hope you got it.
Yes, I got that.
Thank you.
So India is still following the non-alignment movement in today's changing dynamics.
Like, yes, when it is asked to India, like, are you supporting Ukraine or Russia? India has given its decision in like neutral way, not supported any one of the
Like
side.
like today's two powerful blocs are USA and China. Na, we all know. So should India follow non-alignment movement still, or should it change? Like it's in the recent time, if you see that India is somewhat being closer to the USA?
For me, it is actually policy declared. So this time that's why even India is this time even following non-alignment policy. I'm saying you, India is making good relations with Russia. I mean to say USA. India also would have good relations with China if there would have not been border issues. Actually, the problem with China is only border issue, not any kind of ideology. For Russia, even this time when there is Russia between Ukraine, India at the same time have given it is heartfelt feelings for Ukraine that people are getting died. At the same time, India had not given any kind of that straightforward statement against Russia. Means it is neutral. It's saying that it's your matter. I'm not going to interfere. It's your matter. Do it whatever you can. In India has to do it. India has to adopt this kind of policy.
Yes, actually, there was a president who said uh, it's not about like supporting any country or like being, but it's about interest. Like it's geopolitics. It's all about geopolitics. Like all countries work according to their interest. Like India also. Like
But
Yeah, yeah, you said
here,
correctly, silent, but you
no,
said
no,
correctly.
yeah,
That's what I was in
for that.
dilemma. Like, yeah,
For listen,
like,
listen, listen. For
yeah.
that, I will add one more point. For that, India need why actually India their